Wow, so Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm look absolutely fantastic in this movie. Well, I'm sorry. I meant John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I wonder how many other people may use that intro in their review. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my movie review for A Quiet Place 2. If this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me that thumbs up and consider subscribing. So if you couldn't tell from the title, this is the sequel to the 2018 film A Quiet Place, who was also directed by Mr. John Krasinski. And if you haven't seen that film, please do yourself a favor, take some time and check it out. It is well worth your time. I thought it was one of the best films of 2018, and I really doubt that you will be disappointed. And going into that film, I really didn't know much about it other than the cast, with it being John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I'm a fan of both of their work. I knew it had a horror element to it, and also that you had to be quiet or you're going to end up dead. That did pique my interest, and even though my expectations were low besides the cast, and it was also received very well too. If you go over to Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 96% approved rating and also an 82% audience rating, and it made a hell of a lot of money worldwide, $340 million worldwide off of a $17 million budget. So them making a sequel to this was inevitable, and I'm glad they did. But before I get any further, let me tell you what this thing is all about. Following the events at home, the Abbott family now face the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking beyond the sandpath. So I'll go ahead and tell you guys that I really did enjoy this film, and I will get into all the details in just a bit. But one of the things that I really did like about the beginning is a flashback. We actually get to see how things started from day one's perspective of this alien invasion. That's something that we did not know in the first film, the prequel to this. You were just kind of thrown into the mix and kind of had to figure out what was going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was executed quite well. But this right here takes things back to the very beginning, so you can see how they land, you can see how they start attacking people, and you can see everyone's initial reaction and that shock factor of them just saying like, what the hell is going on? Oh my gosh, we're about to die. And so I really did enjoy that right there. You see it in the trailers, and there is so much intensity in this movie. I mean, suspense level on 10, actually level 9,000. And I liked it. It really did keep you at the edge of your seats throughout the whole duration of this movie. Even in the flashback scenes, there was just something about John Krasinski's character that I liked. I mean, he is a leader, and I can't help to step out of this movie that makes me want to see him as Mr. Fantastic even more. But going back to A Quiet Place 2, I mean, you really got to know his character without that much dialogue. I mean, he is a great director. There were certain scenes at a baseball game specifically to where there's no dialogue at all. It's just nice sweeping long shots, long take of the environment, of the setting, just seeing people live their everyday life watching a baseball game, and you get to know their personality as well as the town too. And I really like the way he was able to execute that, just so you can have some type of relation to everything that's going on within this given environment. There's also little Easter eggs here and there that they show brief shots of from the first scene, and when you see them, all it does is pulls on your heartstrings. Like, oh, I remember that from the first film. Oh my gosh, that's that little thing again. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so nice. That's so innocent. So they really do get you all in the feels early on in the film. Another great thing that I liked about this movie is you actually get to see the monsters from head to toe in the daytime, up close and far back, so you can see exactly how they maneuver around. There's something that we did not get in the first film. It was more of a mystery, and you really didn't know exactly what they looked like until the very end of the movie. And it was quite satisfying, but they take it up a notch right here. The effects I thought were done very well. These creatures, these monsters, these aliens are designed in a way that I haven't seen before in any other type of entertainment. They don't look like your typical alien, and the way they maneuver around is very, very scary with all their sound effects and things like that. Also, I have to say, guys, this is the first time I've been to the theater since I believe last July or August of 2020. And my goodness gracious, it was so great to be back into the movie theater. I mean, I miss it so much. I mean, I love movies, if you couldn't tell already. And just hearing those, I mean, this is called A Quiet Place, so a lot of the movie is quiet. But when that bass hits and you hear all these monsters moving around, making all these sound effects, and you get the surround sound, it really takes your experience up to the next level and can beat any sound system that you have at home. And so while we are in a pandemic right now and people are getting vaccinated and some are not, masked and all that good stuff, if you're able to go to the theater in a safe space, in a safe environment without passing around the virus, you know, check it out at the theater. You know, that's all I'll say right there. But I did love the theatrical experience, and it's something that I haven't had in quite some time. And guys, the acting, the performances in this film are absolutely remarkable, especially when it comes to the child actors, Millicent Simmons and Noah Jupe. They are Reagan and Marcus Abbott, brother and sister. There's not much dialogue in this film. And Millicent Reagan, she's a deaf character. And so she can only do sign language and communicate with people reading their lips and them enunciating. And just still, she's able to give such a great performance and show how fearful she is in this environment, especially with her brother as well. I mean, they do such an amazing job. I mean, across the board, Emily Blunt as well. But across the board, I mean, the acting is just top-notch, outstanding. And they really did sell the crap storm that they're in this world-ending event with these aliens invading the place. I mean, I felt every facial expression that they were able to emote on screen, and that just made the experience that much better. And one of the things that I liked about the first film is they had damn near a foolproof plan to survive and get out of this mess. And that carries on into this sequel as well. They have been in this event for about a year and a half, a little over a year. And everybody has a sound plan like the first one. I mean, they have traps, they have protection, they have everything that they need so they can still try to live a normal life to the best of their ability. And everybody's making smart decisions for the most part. And that's what I love. I love characters that are in a position of fright, but they're still able to use their mind and they're still able to use their logic. And I just like how a number of the characters were just able to think fast and at the last minute, you know, to come out on top to survive. I love that. It makes you attach yourself to the characters that much more and root for them so they can survive towards the end of the movie. And like I said, guys, the suspense, the level of intensity, it's up there. You know, there are just points in this movie where you're just clenching yourself like, oh, snap, be careful. Shh, don't make too much noise. What's around the corner? Ah, a jump scare here and there. I mean, that caught me a few times with all these dangerous things popping out all over the place. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So if you like suspense, if you like high intense levels and all that good stuff, that's just another reason why you need to check out this movie. And like I said, John Krasinski can really direct. I love the way he put this together. I love those long shots. It really did set up the environment for you. The action was great. I was at the edge of my seat. I mean, that was done very well. And I also like the transition that he gave of different perspectives from somebody that can hear and someone that is deaf, like Millicent's character. That was done very, very, very well, especially with the film called A Quiet Place, to where you have to be quiet for the most part. It really did change the mood and set the pace for whatever scene that was in right there. And it was done with great precision. So I got to give John Krasinski another thumbs up right there. So guys, those are some of the things that I really did love about the film, but let me change over to some things that actually rubbed me the wrong way. So one of the things that I talked about that I liked are the characters and the decisions that they make and their ability to think fast in a dire situation. And that does carry over to the second film as well. But what's really frustrating is there is a cameo in this film of an actor that I'm a big fan of. And I don't know why he was in this movie for such a short amount of time, but I liked him at first. And he had a foolproof plan, so he seemed like a pretty competent, intelligent individual. And he ended up dying. And I was just kind of saying to myself, why in the world did he die like this? I don't mind him dying, but the way he died was stupid. It's just like he threw all logic and reason out the window just so there can be a higher death count in this film. It just didn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't know. It was just weird and it rubbed me the wrong way. Again, I don't mind the character dying, but it's just the way he died. I was like, that was stupid as hell. How do you have everybody being smart and then all of a sudden he just, oh, I'm going to make a dumb decision right now. Oh, I'm dead. I don't know, that it stood out to me, and I have to be honest with you, it brought my enjoyment down a bit. Also, guys, one of the things that I don't like the most is when I was reading you the synopsis, they realized the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking behind the sand path. This is in the trailer, and you hear one of the characters in the trailer saying, hey, you've been in your house. You don't know how the real world is. Most of the people out there that are left are not worth protecting. That is not anything that's really in the movie except for one brief scene, and they don't even dive into it that much. So here I am going into the movie like, okay, we're going to get the next chapter of this. You know, if you had spoilers for the first film, their home was destroyed, so they have to go out into the real world. Okay, we're also going to get monsters in the daytime, but what's different is they don't have any protection because they're not at home. On top of that, you get this big threat with human beings acting crazy. Human beings are not worth protecting. That was like barely 5 minutes of the movie. And when they even touched upon it, they barely did. And so that really did knock my experience down as far as my expectations were concerned. And it's annoying because that's something that they really could have taken advantage of for them to take this film to the next level. But it was a missed opportunity. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty disappointed about that. Also, in the first film, there was no moment to where I was bored at all. But during this film, there were, some characters got separated. And from the transition from the first act to the second act, there was about a 5 or 10 minute sequence where I was bored. I was like, wait a minute, there's really nothing happening right now. What's going on? What is the overall goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And okay, I see what you're trying to accomplish, but this is a stupid decision. You're not being smart right now. Okay, like go back to the logic and reasoning that you had earlier in the previous film. And so I was kind of bored for about 5 or 10 minutes. However, that didn't last long. It was only 5 or 10 minutes. I remember right after that, things hyped back up to intense levels, and I was enjoying myself again. And the last thing I really didn't like is like after just seeing this film, I mean, it was great and I did enjoy it, but it's also just more of the same. They really didn't do anything different than they did in the first film. And that's just really disappointing. I mean, this movie really could have been combined with the first one and nobody would have known the difference. And the movie is very short. It comes in at 1 hour and 37 minutes. So it flies by, but they honestly could have combined this film with the first one. And I don't think anyone would have known the difference. I mean, the only thing that is different in this movie from the first one really is that you get to see the monsters in the daytime. I mean, and that's fine if that's all you want to see, but I wanted a little bit more and they really don't give it to us. And they really could have with that human element of the guy in the trailer saying that people that are left, most of them are not worth protecting because everybody has their own agenda going crazy, et cetera, et cetera. And so it also kind of ends the same as the first film too. Not saying that it's bad, it's just that there was really nothing fresh. I mean, the performances was great, the environment was great, the sound was great, execution was great, but again, it was just more of the same. And I don't necessarily want to go as far as saying that the sequel wasn't necessary, but I may go ahead and say that, really no sequel is necessary. We don't have to have sequels, but I think you get what I'm saying. You can go ahead and read between the lines. So guys, that is just my opinion, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to see my other reviews for Spiral, Those Who Want Me Dead, Army of the Dead, Monster, or Wrath of Man, just click any of the videos right here on the screen. And if I had to rate this film out of a 1 out of 10, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8.5 out of 10 and 8.5 out of 10. I really did enjoy it, but not as much as the first film. And guys, again, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.